Welcome to Ellie Chat. Your home for exclusive news and commentary on the internet's only podcast about Candlepin Bowling. Brought to you by the Lords of Candlepin, Frank DeLuca and Rich Lamoni. Email the show at alleychat.frankface.net. Now broadcasting from the heart of the Bay State, the host of Alley Chat, Frank Face.
Hey folks, welcome back to Alley Chat. I'm your host Frank Face. I'm here with my co-hosts Kyle Bruce and Rich Lamoni. We are going to talk about the fundraiser coming up for the FA project. Our co-host Rich is quite involved with this. He's got a buddy who's been diagnosed with Friedreich's ataxia, and he's been running this fundraiser for a good couple of years now. Rich, what can you say about it?
Firstly, it's been a ball because it's a bowling event. So right. I think originally my thought was to try to similar to the Rockin' Bowl, where you get a pro on every lane. So it was supposed to be a night to bowl with the pros. But I didn't realize at the time when I first pitched the idea that the pros were just degenerate gamblers and ended up on their own lane together doing knockout boxes, which was awesome for them. And everybody had a great time. So, it ended up being 5 years ago. I had an idea. I was like, let's try to do a bowl-a-thon. I had gone to a fundraiser for the FA project in South Boston, and I said, I want to do more. And I worked with Mike McIntosh, who was one of the founding members of the Pro Series, and I had worked with him to get the message out to the Pro Series guys, and we made it free to the pros, and people were in, and we've been doing well ever since. We hit about $5,000 our first year, and in the 4 years succeeding that, we have hit $10,000. We're over $50,000 for the 5 years that we've been running it. So this is event number 6. It will be Saturday, April 18th at Candlewood Lanes in North Reading. It's 35 Main Street. It will be from 7 to probably about 11. We've gone to about 11 or so. It's been awesome for everybody. It's catered by Kelly's Roast Beef. So everybody loves Kelly's Roast Beef.
Of course. And Rich, who does this benefit? I know you have a good buddy who's quite involved.
A friend of mine that I graduated high school with. His name is Richie Currier, and I've told many people this story, and I'm going to tell it again, that his claim to fame is that we were on the same Little League team, and he was in the on-deck circle, and he was trying to time his swing with the pitcher who was pitching at the time pretty hard, and he let go of the bat, and it spiraled into the parking area where my dad's brand new 1988 Chevy Caprice Classic smashed the windshield.
Wow.
And our team was brutal that year. We broke 3 windshields somehow. So that is his claim to fame, and we've been friends ever since. And some of his close friends created this foundation, and I pitched an idea to them, and I pitched an idea to Mac, and I was completely shocked that everyone was on board. I was expecting a fight. I just, for some reason, I said I have this idea, and I was expecting to, how am I going to argue to make this work, and how am I going to convince people that's a good idea, and how am I going to convince people that they'll want a Candlepin Bowl, and it just, as soon as I pitched it to the 2 guys that founded it, they pitched it to the board of directors, and they're like, run with it. And I was not expecting that as an answer, so that worked out for everybody, and we've had a great time. We've hit over 200 people in the alley 2 years out of the 5, and it's just awesome. People bowl all night. We have a DJ, and it's a ball. And, Candlewood, we have to thank them that they've given it to us for free every year. So, it doesn't cost us a penny to walk in the door and bowl, and they love it. And we have tons of raffles. We have autographed sticks, autographed footballs, pictures, concert tickets, Red Sox tickets. You name it. We have so many raffles, and it's been a successful formula. We have people that donate baked goods, and we usually get donations from Sam Adams for beer, and it's just been a fun night for everybody, especially the bowlers, and especially the pro bowlers. They have a ball. Craig Holbrook and Wickham will be there this year, so all of the other guys are going to lose money, because to those two.
They won't lose it. It'll go to a worthy cause.
Yes, absolutely.
And they generally do an enormous 50-50 raffle too.
Yeah.
People get into that and walk out with some pretty good money, but of course the rest of it goes to the FA project, which is the goal of this, is to raise as much money and awareness for Friedreich's ataxia. I
mean, it worked out great that I ended up getting a Worlds team. They did a bunch of our sponsorship, which was nice. We put them on the back of the shirt, and, so I'm hoping they'll help us again this year to offset the cost for my team, which, I helped them, they helped me, so they've always been there, which is great. I found out that one of the other bowlers on Friday night, Andrew Wisniewski from Norwood, he has a friend that has Friedreich's ataxia, and his friend will be attending the event along with Andrew. And
that's great.
And Andrew wants to do 5K in August to help contribute to the FA project, and it works out well. The FA project, when they get the money, they use it well because they don't do research. What they do is they give money to people that have FA to offset the costs of the things that they have to go through. So if somebody needs a wheelchair that's going to cost $500, they give them $250, so it only costs them $250. Or if somebody needs a ramp in their house, or they need a van that's outfitted to fit a wheelchair, they'll help out and offset some of those costs. They'll fly people that have FA to the FA symposiums that happen. So they help people out, and they've done a great job. And I'm glad that I'm associated with these people. And we've had a good time doing this, and we have helped a lot of people, and we're going to continue to help more. So we're going on year 6, and it's been great.
When is this event taking place?
It's April 18th. That's a Saturday, and it's at Candlewood, 35 Main Street, North Reading.
You said 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock to 11 or so. We've stayed successfully till 12:30 one year. So,
and what's the cost involved, Rich, to purchase tickets?
It's $25 for people at the door, or actually you can get them online as well through the FA Project's website. It's $25.
www.thefaproject.org. And if you're a Pro Bowler, it's free for you. And if you're not a Pro Bowler, this is your chance to bowl against a Pro Bowler. So it's a lot of fun. I've gone the past couple of years and tried to help out, and I've had a good time every time. I've never seen a bowling alley so packed, especially Candlewood. And again, like Rich said, they do a fantastic job at Candlewood. Thanks for the crew there. We couldn't get any more help from anyone possibly. So thanks again for that.
Eric Feely, who works behind the counter, he busted his ass last year.
Yeah, he runs around all over the place helping us out.
And, got to thank him. Got to thank Carol, the manager of the place.
Course.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So, we're very lucky.
And Candlewood's not closing.
Yes, that's
not
good
closing,
too.
Which we're happy about. We're very happy about.
Ecstatic, one of the great institutions.
It is.
If it didn't exist, we wouldn't have Jeff Surratt the way he is today, right? That's the place that trained him. The house that Surratt built.
This is true.
Hopefully we can get Jeff Surratt to come out for the event.
I'm going to try to browbeat him into it.
Well, hopefully you don't have to browbeat or, make him pack the bags to go on the guilt trip. I would just say this is the only place that you can listen to Candlepin Bowling discussion.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Correct.
And Alley Chat will be there podcasting. We will be recording. Maybe you can stop by the booth, get on air, and talk about FA or anything you want really related to Candlepin Bowling. So come check it out. That's the FA Project Bowlathon, 6th Annual Striking Cards Bowlathon, April 18th, 2015. That's a Saturday at 7 p.m. Cost of $25 to get in there. All benefits go to the FA Project. There are plenty of raffles, sports raffles, hockey pucks, baseballs, hockey sticks, signed by all these types of athletes that we know and love. And, of course, there's 50-50 raffles, and you can have a great night out bowling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So come check that out. That's, again, the faproject.org for tickets. You can also buy tickets at the door, but get there early because the lanes are going to fill up.
Thanks a lot for Alley Chat for letting us talk about this.
Of course. And you can always check us out, alleychat.frankface.net. We are also on Twitter, Alley Chat with 2 T's, and the official podcast link is on iTunes. So search for Alley Chat on iTunes. For my co-hosts Rich Lamoni and Kyle Bruce, my name is Frank Face, and we hope to see you at the FA Project fundraiser.
Friday Pro League Rundown.
What's up, everyone? This is Frank Face with your Friday Pro League Rundown. In Week 29, Lucky Strike 6, Metro 2, 2, Woburn 2, 0, Central Park 8, Norwood 6, Woburn 1, 2, Academy 3, 2, Academy 2, 6, Ron's Ice Cream 8, 20th Century Lane 0, Academy 1, 6, Metro 1, 2, Malden 1, 6, Riverwalk 2, and Malden 2 had the bye for 8 points. This week's 400 series include Tony Iannuzzi with the 402, Dave Chesterco with the 412, and the week's high series was thrown by Lucky Strike's Dave Barber with the 417. Triple T, Tony Iannuzzi of Malden 1 had the night's high single with the 168. Your standings are Lucky Strike in first place at 192, Academy 2 174, Central Park 173, Academy 3 161, in fifth place 20th Century at 144, Academy 1 at 131, Ron's Ice Cream 129, in eighth place Metro 2 at 124, Malden 1 123, Riverwalk 114, Metro 1 103, in 12th place Norwood at 93, Woburn 2's at 85, Malden 2's at 54, and in 15th place, Woburn 1 is 46. Your Week 30 matchups are Norwood at Riverwalk, Academy 2 at Academy 1, Lucky Strike at Central Park, Woburn 1 at Malden 1, Metro 2 at Woburn 2, Malden 2 at 20th Century, Metro 1 at Academy 3, and Ron's Ice Cream has the bye. This is Frank Face, and that's the Friday Pro League.
Alley Chat.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Alley Chat. My name is Frank Face. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-hosts, Kyle Bruce and Rich Lamoni. We are going to talk about our follow-up to having Nick Zuffolato on our episode last week. We talked to Nick about his New England knockout bracket, and we just wanted to see how it was been progressing. And we do have one of the final matches or final finalists determined, Kyle. We have Dave Barber defeated Brian Fuller in a very close match.
Yeah, 615, 609. Thanks, Fuller, for fucking up my bracket.
Well, I talked to Fuller last night, and he was disappointed, but we all know what he's capable of. I guess he just couldn't break anything up during the last string.
Yeah, he went through the middle, like in the last 5. So when I see him, I'll give him a big hug. But
that might kill him.
Well, yes, that's true.
Well, he'll be protected by duct tape. Did you notice that last night, Rich? His Friday Night Pro League shirt was duct taped. On his back, he had one strip of duct tape that said Riverwalk, and the other said Brian Fuller on his shirt, because he didn't have anything embroidered on his shirt.
Well, that should prove interesting for Easter,
yes,
by the way. But
that's true.
Is he's going to bowl Easter?
Yeah.
Oh,
Has he done it before?
He did it last year.
Last year, he was like two pins away from cashing.
Yeah, he said he came in 9th place, and I think they paid the top 8. So,
yeah, I think he threw 24 6, or I can't remember. He was a couple pins away from cashing.
Yeah, maybe. He was. He plowed through the middle a little bit last night too.
Yeah, I think what happens with Brian is that when I think it's a fine line, because given how much his ball breaks throwing that backup ball, and I think sometimes when he takes a little bit off of it, the ball will break too full on the head pin, so Fuller goes fuller.
No pin intended.
Very well played. Very well played. I am of the belief that when Brian throws a little harder, the ball doesn't break quite as sharp, and he goes Brooklyn, and he's throwing some very big scores. That's just my opinion. I mean, you guys would know better than I.
Well, I mean, he wasn't breaking stuff up last night, but he was still making spares.
Oh yeah,
he bowled very well.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I guess my point is that Brian will be. I mean, if he can, if he will be someone that is consistent in entering into events like Friday night and Pro Series and Easter and stuff like that, like he will be someone that is someone to be reckoned with.
I think unstoppable.
If he was bowling at Malden last night, we would not have taken 6, I don't think. He was throwing a great ball. I mean, it was, I think Riverwalk had a period where we all were splitting and we weren't breaking stuff up.
I mean, I think generally I don't think accuracy is the issue. It's just, I mean, when you're talking about the difference of what a board can be. You can be in the pocket or too heavy, and you can't break stuff up.
Right.
So it's hard to mark when you're always looking at splits. So, but give congratulations to Dave Barber.
Of course.
He had the home alley advantage, and I don't know how much of that factored into what happened. I thought the scores were a little bit lower than I thought they would be, but Dave is a lot like Brian, where growing up in a bowling alley, and he's we covered it a couple weeks ago about the work he does for Candlepin, but we can't lose sight of the caliber of bowler he is, and he'll face the winner of Sean McKinley and Jonathan Boudreau, which I think is today.
It's either today or tomorrow at Hyde Park, 20th Century Lanes.
So
that's
going to
be a great match.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not only the semifinal match will be awesome, but the finals, doesn't matter who wins. It'll be a great end to Freshie's inaugural New England Knockout Tournament.
Yeah, and we had Freshie on for our last episode, or last week, and he seems very excited to keep this going. So, and we talked about a couple things that he's thinking about doing. Guys, what do you think about the pick your own house idea that he had?
Well, do you want to go first, Rich, or what do you think?
Sure. I mean, I don't particularly like it. I feel like it's going to cause too much anguish between bowlers. If you can't settle on a house, he's going to pick one that's in the middle location. So, I mean, he might have a lot of work to do in that, if he's talking about getting a 64, he may have to pick 32 houses if, 32 pairs of guys can't decide where they want to bowl. I would have a feeling that no one would want to bowl me at Candlewood or Malden. So I'm going to have to try to pick another house where I feel confident and that's not too far. I mean, I'm confident at Lakeside, but I don't want to drive an hour.
Right.
I don't. So I have to pick Central, or I have to pick Wakefield. Who's going to want to go to Wakefield? Nobody. So
well, you would.
Well, sure.
Yes. I think in order to, the whole point of doing things like this is to grow the game and to grow the tournament without, taking more time and money, let's face it, than is needed. And I think that in order to do that, you need to break up really, southern New Hampshire, Mass, geographically, and have separate brackets, sort of like the way 5 would do it, having each area have their own final before they would go on TV. Because I think if you do it that way, and yeah, it might be taking some decision making away, but if you spell it out clearly that, the North Shore semifinal will be held, I don't know,
at Sunnyside.
I'm throwing it out. Yeah. So that way, if it's spelled out clearly, the bowler knows, well, look, I don't have to drive more than like a half an hour from where I live. And I know whether or not my ball works there. And if I can, hit my head pin, hit my objects, not leaving any pins in the plate, I get a good chance to advance to maybe a house where my ball works a little better. Maybe your ball works better at Sunnyside if you're on the North Shore. Who knows? I think that's an idea where there's no guesswork. It's cheaper for the bowler, less time. I think that's in the state of the game where we're in right now. It's not like, Channel 5 where you have a chance you're making $300 just walking in the door right now.
Right.
It's not like that anymore. So it's incumbent upon us as people that are trying to get the game going to give people a reason to want to maybe take a half day from work or take time away from their family or, spend the gas money or whatever to have a chance to, demonstrate and show an exhibition of our game in front of people. And the good thing about this too is that there are people that are watching these matches.
There's a lot of people watching these matches.
Yeah.
I went to
a lot of it.
I went to the 6-man roll-off, and there were like 30, 35 people there. I didn't expect to see any of those people. They just came because they wanted to watch good bowling.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to work towards. And so, Freshie did talk about doing something in the fall, so there are, you have, a few months to get something narrowed down.
Right.
It's just an idea.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily dislike the choose your own house thing. I don't like it either, though. I feel it just leaves too much up in the air. There's gonna, like Rich was saying, it's gonna be a full-time job trying to mediate between bowlers where they're going to be bowling if they can't agree upon something. Kyle, I think you have the greatest idea in doing regional brackets. Say if you could get 64 guys, 16 from each region, northeast, southwest, wherever that is, you define that. If you could do regional brackets and get them all together in the top 4, that would be incredible.
Yeah, and then you pick somewhere where it's, I don't know, the most centralized. I mean, I don't know if that would be somewhere in the Boston area, but that way someone that might be in the Worcester area only has to drive once, or someone that lives up in Maine only has to drive once.
Right.
Plus
they wouldn't mind it either because
right, exactly.
At that point they've already made their money.
Yeah, and plus there'll be more money going around because there'll be more bowlers.
Yeah.
So, and it might give an opportunity for someone maybe to, this might be something different, but maybe if you live somewhere in New Hampshire and you don't want to compete maybe in New Hampshire, you could go maybe to in the Maine bracket, for example, if you wanted to. Bowl in some houses that you don't normally go to. Just a thought. I don't know.
Well, the situation you run into, though, is we may not be able to find 16 bowlers from Maine. Is
Right.
that even possible?
I think we'd find an excess of bowlers.
So then when, how does that work if there's 24 guys in Eastern Mass that want to bowl? Are those 8 guys locked out because you can only pick 16 for 16 in? I mean,
maybe they could go to another bracket.
Well,
we've shown guys from, like we were talking about Irby driving from this, Rhode Island up to
Haverhill to Academy.
Right. So, I guess it would really depend.
I think maybe what you'd have to do is kind of define a group of houses that people call their home house, and make that a region of the bracket. Say you have 4 or 5 northern Maine houses, you'd be able to get 16 guys from there. They would duke it out in their region. You'd have 5 or 6 or however many houses in New Hampshire. You'd have Western Mass one. You'd have a Boston area one, and you'd have to kind of you shouldn't be able to just join whatever bracket you want to. It should be by region, by what you call your home house. And if there's an excess of bowlers, you'd of course have to do a lottery, a random draw, to see if you get into that bracket. But I think if you say, within our area here, I could name 5 houses off the top of my head with guys who would want to get into a 16 man bracket with the chance of moving on to it, to face other brackets.
Right.
So you'd have to have some kind of rule where, say if Woburn, Malden, Wakefield, and I don't know, Sunnyside are your home house, you can enter this bracket.
Right.
And so forth for the other 3.
Yeah, because you do have, let's face it, if like on Friday nights or what have you, some guys are making a drive that are 40 minutes, even more, to bowl a home match.
Right.
So, that's a question that, like I said, there's a lot of time that between now and when I think he would want to get the next tournament started. And I think these are all good questions.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great for the game. If we can get 30 to 35, or I should say, if Freshie can get 30 to 35 for the last 6, can you imagine what the final would be? If you have the final 4,
Yeah.
so to speak. That would be something I'd want to film, of course.
You could fill the bleachers at Pilgrim.
I would think that if you did the final 4, you would have to make it the same way that he did the final 6. I think that would be awesome. Instead of do you make it random and say like Maine versus East and New Hampshire versus West? Or, I think you'd be better off having all 4 guys bowl in the top 2 or in the finals.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. You can't really do seeding, right? There's really no way for that to work.
Well, you could have the highest score from the semifinal round,
Or
or
total
the
pinfall.
quarterfinal round. Essentially, they're
Yeah.
the 1 seed, and they would go against the guy that had the lowest score.
Yeah. I mean, you could do 1 against 4, 2 against 3. And then,
I'd want to have it at the same house.
yeah, I mean, that's, that would be the whole point, I think, to do the final 4. Because if you have those 2 matches at the same time, then the winner of those matches would go against each other for the whole thing.
Yeah,
Sense.
and I would want to do those matches individually so they could each be filmed.
Yeah.
That would just be incredible.
Well, I mean, if you did it at Pilgrim, Irby could probably set up his camera to cover 4 lanes. I'm sure that would be fine.
Yeah, but that you can't commentary. You can't provide commentary across 4 matches, 2 matches.
Rich, wouldn't you want to do commentary with me for something like that?
Yeah, of course.
You ask Rich and not me.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I think we should have a 12-person booth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd be like
That's what I think.
Slipknot.
It'll
I
be
think
like
we'll-
it'd be like the Hanson brothers out there.
It'd be like Naked
That was a
Gun.
nice shot. Yeah, coach, nice shot.
Well, that's a lot for people to consider, and I think Freshy's the guy to do it. I think what he's doing now is a great start, and it really can only get better.
Well, I think people can send their suggestions to the Alley Chat interface online, correct?
That is
Yeah, but-
true. That is true. You can email us at alleychat@frankface.net. There, we have a Twitter account, alleychat with 2 T's. You can even text us, 617-863-CHAT. That's 617-863-2428. And at that same phone number, you can leave us a voicemail. We'd love to get voicemails because that would provide us with great commentary for you for us to talk about, and you'd have your voice on the air and everything. So please do participate. We're looking forward to hearing from people. All right, so that's our kind of editorial opinion on Freshy's bracket. We hope to have him back on, maybe even prior to the final match. We'll see what we can do with that. If you're curious to find out results, check out the New England Knockout Bracket Facebook page, where Freshy can add you as a participant, and scores are posted there. People talk about it. You can find out about where the final match is going to be, and more importantly, you can go watch it. For my co-hosts, Kyle Bruce and Rich Lamoni, this is Frank Face, and thanks for listening to Alley Chat, the web's only Candlepin Bowling podcast.